Let me ask you something. Why do we live in a world where the biggest liars are the most loved, the loudest voices get the most power, and the wisest ones are often ignored? It's not random. It's a blueprint, a system that rewards confidence over competence, deception over depth, and charisma over character. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. This isn't just a video. It's a warning, and maybe a mirror. We're about to dig into what Machiavelli really understood about power, manipulation, and why leadership has always been a stage, not a sanctuary. And if you're someone who sees through the noise, who questions what others blindly accept, then you're not just watching this. You're part of something, a quiet tribe of thinkers, observers, outsiders who refuse to play dumb just to fit in. So welcome. You're exactly where you belong. Now, let's begin. Let's be real. We like to believe leadership is earned, that the best rise to the top, that wisdom, honesty, and hard work are what the world rewards. But reality, the loudest person often wins the room. The flashiest resume gets the job. And the best liar, they often become your next boss, or worse, your next president. You see, Machiavelli understood something most people refuse to accept. People don't follow truth. They follow appearance. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Machiavelli. Let that one sink in. It doesn't matter if you're a good person. It matters if you look like a strong one. In a world where perception is power, the mask is everything. And the best part, you don't even have to wear it well. Just wear it loudly. Because when people are scared, confused, or desperate, they don't look for virtue. They look for certainty. And that's why the arrogant rise. Because they walk into the room like they own it, even if they couldn't lead a dog across the street. Now here's where it gets dark. The people who are most certain are often the ones who've thought the least. But we mistake confidence for competence over and over again. It's not your fault. It's evolutionary. Humans are wired to follow whoever seems like they know what they're doing, even if they're driving straight into a wall. And so, the honest person who's still questioning, still learning, still unsure, they get overlooked. They don't look like a leader. They look too human. Now, if you're thinking, this explains my job, my country, my entire dating history, you're not wrong. But it gets worse, because this isn't just about who rises to power. It's about what power does to people once they get there. They say power corrupts, but Machiavelli would argue power doesn't corrupt. It reveals. It's like alcohol for the soul. Whatever's already inside a person spills out. Give a fool power, and you get chaos. Give a narcissist power, and you get a cult. Give a liar power, and you get, well, just turn on the news. But here's the tragic part. We think the person changed once they got power. No, they were always like that. You just couldn't see it until they stopped pretending. Before power, they needed approval. After power, they need control. And that's when the mask comes off. Now here's a question. Have you ever seen someone get promoted and instantly become unbearable? They didn't become that. They were finally free to be that. Think of power like money. It doesn't make people evil. It just gives them a louder microphone and fewer consequences. And here's the nightmare. The system rewards that behavior. Because narcissists don't hesitate. Liars adapt faster. And fools? They follow orders without asking questions. So guess who climbs the fastest? The person who's willing to be what others aren't. Shameless. That's the secret no one tells you. In the world of leadership, shame is a weakness. Doubt is a flaw. And empathy, well, that's just bad business. Here's the hard truth. Most people don't want freedom. They want relief. Not from dictators, not from systems, but from the crushing weight of thinking for themselves. And that's why fools, liars, and narcissists rise to power. Not just because they want control, but because so many people want to be controlled. It's easier. It's easier to believe the confident man with no doubts. Easier to follow the loud voice that tells you what's right and wrong in black and white. Easier to nod along with the crowd than to stand alone and ask, wait, is any of this even true? Machiavelli saw this centuries ago. He understood that the average person doesn't care about truth, justice, or wisdom. They care about survival. And survival means fitting in, obeying, conforming. So when a charismatic fool shows up with easy answers and absolute certainty, we don't just tolerate him, we celebrate him, we let him lie, we let him fail. And when it all collapses, we say, he meant well. Here's the terrifying part. A skilled manipulator doesn't have to be good. He just has to be believable. Because we're not always looking for truth. We're looking for someone to tell us what to believe. Someone who can quiet the noise in our heads and say, don't worry, I've got it all figured out. Even if they don't, especially if they don't. And so the cycle continues. We reward certainty. We ignore warning signs. And we mistake simple answers for wise leadership. Let's stop pretending the system is broken. It's not. It's working exactly as designed to protect the powerful, not the wise, to reward the ruthless, not the honest, to elevate the performers, not the thinkers. The truth? The system isn't failing. It's filtering. And what it filters out, first and fastest, are the people who question it. Have you ever noticed? The most thoughtful people rarely rise. They hesitate. They reflect. They care. And in a game designed for sharks, that makes them prey. Because when the rules reward visibility over value and ego over ethics, you don't get leaders. You get actors. And the scariest part, the audience claps louder for the act than they ever would for the truth. Here's the real trap. If you're honest, they'll call you naive. If you're humble, they'll call you weak. If you tell the truth, they'll call you dangerous. But if you lie just the right way, if you say what people want to hear, if you play dumb when it benefits you, you rise. Because systems aren't built to elevate the wise. They're built to keep the machine running. And wisdom slows the machine down. That's why the system doesn't just tolerate bad leaders. It manufactures them. So, if you've ever felt like you're too honest to get ahead, too ethical to play the game, you're not broken. You're just not playing dirty enough. And that might be the most honest thing anyone tells you today. So now you see it, the masks, the lies, the systems that reward illusion and punish introspection. And maybe you're asking, if this is how the world works, what am I supposed to do? Here's the answer Machiavelli would never admit directly. But if you read between the lines, it's clear. You don't need to become the villain to survive the game, but you do need to understand the villain's rule book. You can stay kind, but never be naive. You can stay honest, but stop offering your truth to people who weaponize it. You can be thoughtful, but learn to speak the language of confidence, even if your humility is screaming underneath, because power doesn't always go to the best, but influence can. And if you want to lead in a world built for fools, you must learn how fools think. You must understand why people worship certainty, why charisma outweighs competence, and why the real power often belongs to the person behind the throne, not the one sitting on it. You don't have to wear the mask, but you do need to know how it works, because once you understand the stage, you stop falling for the act. You stop following the loudest person in the room, and you start listening for the quiet ones who actually make sense. Machiavelli never asked us to become monsters. He asked us to stop pretending monsters don't exist. And maybe that's where your real power begins. So, the next time you see a leader rise through charm, lies, and empty promises, don't be shocked. Be strategic. This world isn't fair. It's not even trying to be. But that doesn't mean you have to play dumb to survive it. You just need to play smart and stay awake. And if this video pulled back the curtain even a little for you, then maybe, just maybe, you're not as alone as you think. Because if you're the kind of person who values truth over comfort, insight over noise, and wants to outthink the system instead of getting swallowed by it, then hey, hit that subscribe button. Don't worry, I won't ask you to smash it like a maniac. Just tap it like you're passing a secret note in a corrupt classroom, because we're building a place here for people who see through the nonsense and laugh at it intelligently. Stay sharp, stay aware, and remember, the lion may rule the jungle, but the fox knows how to survive it. Until next time.